The second thing, knowing your value. Rolls-Royce versus Hyundai. Why understanding your value matters. Imagine you're a valuable, rare gem hidden in a field. People walk past unaware of your worth because they don't know what they're looking at. You may feel invisible, overlooked, or tempted to settle for less without knowing your value. Many men go through life undervaluing themselves, believing lies about their worth, and allowing others to treat them poorly. Knowing your value changes everything. It's not about pride or ego. It's about recognizing the worth God has placed in you. When you understand you are valuable, you'll stop settling for relationships, habits, and situations that diminish your worth. You'll start making choices that reflect your true identity as a man of God. Do you know what you're worth? How do you see yourself? Many men struggle to answer this question honestly. One of the most untold truths about men is that they devalue themselves. They are paraded around with the feeling of a badge of honor, when in reality, they devalue who they are as men. The world tells us that a man's worth is based on how many women he's been with or how tough he acts. Some measure their worth by their accomplishments or possessions, believing their value lies in what they can achieve. Others define themselves by their past mistakes or failures, convinced they aren't worth much at all. But neither perspective reflects the truth. But many of us end up devaluing ourselves without even realizing it. Because your value doesn't come from what you do or what you own, it comes from the one who created you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139:14. This means you are designed with intention, care, and purpose. You are not a mistake or an afterthought. You are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus for good works. Ephesians 2:10. When you embrace this truth, it changes how you see yourself and live your life. Where are you finding your value? Ask yourself, where do I find my value? Is it in my career, my status, or my possessions? Or do I see myself through the eyes of my past mistakes? The source of your value determines how you live your life. If you tie your worth to temporary things like wealth, relationships, or achievements, you'll constantly fear losing them. But when your value is rooted in God, it remains unshakable, no matter what happens. So I ask, are you a Rolls-Royce or a Hyundai? I already know that most would say Rolls-Royce due to the identity crisis facing men today. But honestly, you are a Hyundai. How do I know? I was a Hyundai at one time or another until I found my identity and learned of my value. I upgraded and became a better man. And you can too. The Rolls-Royce versus the Hyundai. A lesson in value. Now let me explain the difference between the two cars. We both know that these are two cars. They were both created to perform a particular task. And just considering that they are cars, they both have the same functions and mainly the same features. But there is one significant difference: how they are used and driven. The Hyundai use and abuse. The Hyundai is a reliable car that is for everyday use. When a Hyundai leaves the dealership lot, it depreciates immediately. It was priced at $16,000 brand new on the lot. But once you put the key in and drove it off the lot, its value dropped to about $9,000. As a used car, it is super cheap. It has many miles, dents, and dings. It has many owners. Over time, without proper maintenance, its value sinks even lower. So we went from $16,000 to $2,500. That is a significant depreciation. Men, especially young men, start with high value until they begin to let so many women test drive them that by the time they are ready to be married, they have so many miles on them that their value is heavily depreciated. This happens when we allow ourselves to be used without understanding our value. Whenever we engage in casual relationships or give away pieces of ourselves without purpose, we lose a part of who we are. Many of us are driven by lust, pride, or the need for validation, not realizing that every misuse of our body, mind, and spirit lowers our worth. The real problem is the SIN problem. Men invite sin in early. Your depreciation begins with watching pornography. Then it moves to masturbation, which is a form of witchcraft. Then you are told that to be a man, you must sleep with a certain number of women. This leads to a focus on sex, followed by even more sex, until you find yourself moving from one woman to another. 1 Thessalonians 4, 3-5. You lust after women even when they pass you on the street. Matthew 5:28. Or you get the most significant lie told, you must test the milk before you buy the cow. See how easily your value becomes depreciated? When you begin randomly having sex with different women, you allow your value to go down. You are now just being test-driven by various women. None of these women are adding value to you. They are only taking value from you. You constantly keep giving yourself repeatedly. You don't even get a chance to get to know who you really are. You don't stop and get your brakes changed, oil changed, or even your tires rotated. You keep adding miles to yourself. Then, by the time you get married or want to be married, you have so many miles attached to you and so much baggage. What good are you then for your future wife or future children? How much of yourself have you given away without a sense of growth in your life? Want to hear the rest of this chapter? Don't stop here. Take the next step in your transformation. Get the full audiobook, eBook, and interactive workbook today. Click the link below to unlock the complete experience.